So when I started 25, 26 years ago, interest rates were like at 8%. And that was what it was good if you got an FHA loan at 8%. Hard money loans back then, guys, was like 16 to 18%. It was ridiculously expensive to borrow hard money. And we used a lot of it when we first started out. So this high interest rate thing that's going on right now doesn't super concern me. I'm not convinced that because the interest rates are super high, that the real estate market is going to crash. There are reasons that I believe that it's not. I will tell you that there is also a very low inventory of new houses coming on the market right now. So it is higher interest rate and inflation on everything. It's gotten way more expensive to build things. And so we're seeing less houses, new houses come onto the market. And that keeps a upward pressure on the real estate market. And we've seen things continue to rise, especially on the businesses in the areas where we're doing business in the state of Florida and even on the island of Puerto Rico. So number two, the housing and the supply and demand. What we see is we've got a pretty high demand, although it has leveled off as the interest rates have gone up. What's problem is that we have a very low supply. So where I am on the island of Puerto Rico, we still have a housing shortage. We are still looking for way more houses than there are on the market. And that creates this pressure for it to continue to go up. I don't see this correction happening, at least not right now. Doesn't mean that it won't happen a year or two from now. And hey, that's kind of the way things happen. If we have a crash in the States, and a couple years later, we'll have the crash on the island of Puerto Rico. In Florida, we also have kind of low housing starts. We don't have nearly the supply that we've had for many, many years. And that low supply keeps the pressure on the upward trajectory of prices. So as we see supply start to come up, you'll start to see prices maybe level off a little bit. This housing shortage that I'm talking about, where I see it in Florida, and I especially see it on the island of Puerto Rico, this is a nationwide phenomenon. This is a problem that's happening in all 50 states. We have low housing starts, several million house shortage. So 4.5, 5 million by the last report that I read online that we're under. So there's a more demand than there is supply. It's hard for there to be a bubble that's going to burst when you've got more people needing a house and more people wanting to buy a house than you have houses to supply the people. So really the only thing that we haven't seen go up as fast is your wages, right? The price of real estate and the low supply, that means it's going to go higher. Your wages aren't rising fast enough for people to afford the new price of homes, and they're really getting out of control. So I'm looking for, if I'm a real estate investor, am I hoping that there's going to be a crash? I'm not really necessarily hoping that there's going to be a crash. I do have a way to profit from it. If you'll stay till the end, I'll tell you about that. But I am expecting that it could start to level off. Even though we've had this massive inflation, because there's a housing shortage, that's what's keeping the housing prices so high. Ordinarily, with the higher interest rates, it would drive prices down. We just simply don't have enough volume. And this is supply and demand economics, guys. When you don't have enough houses, the prices can't come down. I know that everybody wants to blame real estate investors for this, but really the truth is we need more real estate investors to invest in housing so that there will be more housing and prices can start to come down. The third thing that could cause the bubble to burst is economic and regional variations. So you might have a real estate bubble burst in your area. So let's talk about California, for instance. California has had a massive run-up in prices, and they have a big homelessness problem. And the government there doesn't seem to like entrepreneurs or people making money. So there's an exodus of people leaving the state of California, which could cause, probably should cause, the real estate prices to come down a bit. But California is its own animal, and I'm not going to try to predict what's going to happen over there. So guys, the predictions they're just wildly different depending on where you are in the country, right? These economic and regional variations, they vary widely, right? So here's the way I see it. If you're in an area where there's an exodus, where there are more people moving out of the state than there are moving in, or even a town or a city where more people are moving out because things have gotten so expensive, or maybe there's been a loss of jobs, who knows what's happening in your region? But if you see people leaving, then that's an indication that things are going to crash and it's going to get worse. If you see things where people are coming in and businesses are starting up, and I can give you two real-life examples. In the state of Florida, we are still having this massive influx of people leaving the Northeast and coming to the state of Florida. This has been happening since, well, it's kind of been happening for my entire life, but it's really sort of gone crazy since the big flu. And we're still seeing massive amounts of population growth in the state of Florida, and we have this housing shortage that everybody's experiencing, so it's keeping the prices trending up. Other areas that I'm not as familiar with still have a massive exodus, and if you're seeing a massive exodus, you can expect prices to go down. Number 4, this is a weird one for me to be talking about, but it's climate change. So here's what this climate change, here's how it'll affect it. If you live in a coastal area, and I live in 2 of them, the state of Florida, we have a huge coastline, and we are actually seeing that the cost of insurance has skyrocketed recently. This inflation thing has hit Florida with the insurance and taxes mightily, and it has caused us as real estate owners to have much more expense to hold things than we previously were having. So because of climate change, because there are more hurricanes, because there's more tidal surge, you're seeing that people are not able to live as close to the coast. At least they're not able to insure, so they're moving in, and those prices could come down. I'm not wholly convinced that people won't just learn to live with it and figure out how to make more money so that they can still live on the coast as long as their houses aren't being washed out to sea. Here's the thing, as a real estate investor, these storms, they come and they go, and there's a cycle to them. And so I think that it's a temporary downward pressure whenever there's a big storm that comes in. But eventually, 4 or 5 years after the storm leaves an area, people have forgotten about it, and everybody wants to live on the ocean and live on the coast. So I don't know if any one of these 4 is going to cause the bubble to burst in the real estate market. I see signs that things are leveling off. I see indications that things are slowing down. I will tell you this, and this is what you stayed to the end for, and go ahead and give this video a like. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done it, guys. It's surprising how many of you watch our videos again and again but aren't subscribers, so we would love to have you join our community. We really want to encourage you to be part of the community, become real estate investors. That's why we put out these videos. So what happens if there's a bubble? Or what happens if there's not a bubble? Should you invest in real estate? Should you buy a house? Should you sit on the sidelines? I want to tell you, as a real estate investor, and I've been doing this for 26 years, I'm always buying the great deals. So I believe that no matter what, whether it's a good market or a bad market, or the market is sideways and flat, there's always going to be great deals. And if you're a real estate investor too, you're going to want to be looking for those great deals. I don't believe that there's ever really a time to sit it out. And I think that when the market crashes, when the bubble does happen, that's when there's really going to be money to be made. And if you're already in the game, you have a real advantage. If you're sitting on the sidelines waiting for the bubble to burst and waiting for the market to crash and thinking you're going to get in and that you're going to outsmart some other people that have been in the game, you're going to lose to them. I'm going to buy more real estate if the market crashes. Hell, I'm going to buy more real estate if the market continues to soar, but I'm really going to buy more real estate if the market crashes. We've been through this before. This just happened back in 2008, and we've seen what happens when the real estate market corrects itself. If you can come in and buy at those times, it's an amazing opportunity to build wealth. It's an amazing opportunity to find a way to get out of the rat race and have passive income at the end of the day. So if the market crashes, if things go down, we're going to start to buy more. We're going to buy for the long term. We're going to buy and hold, and we're going to buy a lot of it. I highly recommend that you guys start this game now. Get into the real estate investing market. Get yourself out of the rat race. Don't do what everybody else is doing. And if you're hearing everybody tell you that they're going to sit it out until the market crashes and then they're going to jump back in, man, you got to be doing something contrarian. You don't want to be running with the 98%. You want to be running against the grain. You got to be doing something different if you want to have different results. So if the market crashes, what would I do different? There are some major things that I've learned. Feels like it was yesterday for me. So if there were a big bubble and the market crashes, what I'm going to do is I'm going to batten down the hatches, and I'm going to keep rental properties. I'm going to put renters in the properties that we own, and we're going to do everything we can to keep them. We're not going to panic and sell at the bottom of the market. I'm going to be a buyer at the bottom of the market. I will not be a seller. I will tell you right now, I am more apt to sell because I think we're sort of towards the top of the market than I am to buy. So I'm very cautious on what I'm buying, but I'm still buying. And when the market crashes, I'm going to be way less cautious. I'm going to be buying the hell out of that real estate market. I'm not going to sell anything. The last time around, I was in a panic. I didn't know what to do. I didn't have the rentals, so I didn't have the income. So I just sold, even though it kept going down, and we lost everything doing that strategy. We won't make that mistake again, guys. I've seen this movie. I know where it turns out. I know what happens. And the real estate market, if the bubble bursts, doesn't mean that it's going to burst forever. That's your time to buy. When there's blood in the water, that's when you're really going to make your money. I say all the time that in real estate investing, you make your money when you buy. So when you see the bubble burst, it's time to get in and hold on. And if you're already owning property, and they're rented and they're cash flowing, then just sit back, collect that income, and keep buying more real estate. Guys, we're real estate investors. We've got a community also on School. If you're interested in becoming an entrepreneur and becoming a real estate investor, join us over there. We're building a community of like-minded real estate investors and entrepreneurs. And on the School platform, you can learn with us, you can network with us, and you can do deals with us. The link is in the description. I think that's it. If you stayed till the end, what's my message? You should always be buying real estate. Real estate is where wealth is built, guys. I can't emphasize this enough. I know that I'm always looking at it with rose-colored glasses and that I have a hard time talking about the negative stuff because I so easily get back into the mindset of everything's going to be all right. Real estate goes up and to the right. Like and subscribe to the channel. The life that real estate investing provides, it's amazing. I want it for you guys. God bless.